This story starts off with me laying down to go to sleep, and I'm restless. I can't really fall asleep. And my oldest son appears next to my bed. Now, my oldest son lives with his father states away, so a little bit of excitement and a little bit of what's going on here got across my mind. Mixed emotions. I thought, well, maybe he's learning how to astral project or something in that category, since our family has a unique talent that we possess. So I'm like, okay. So I have a conversation with my oldest son, and he seems very angry, which I can understand given the circumstances of past events. But his subject matter, I'm thinking like he should have questions of like why this happened or why that happened. Instead, he kept repeating, what are we, what are you? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, so I'm thinking like if he's astral projecting or he's going through some spiritual stuff, like maybe that's what the question pertains to. So I try to explain it to him. It got a pretty intense conversation about it, so I got out of bed because I didn't want to wake my husband with me talking into the air. And I came in the other room, and so I started the meditating state to kind of, I guess you call it astral projection, but like put my spirit self out beyond my physical body, so we can both be in the same plane of existence at the moment. When I did this meditating state, it flipped to us being outside and my backyard, and my oldest son kept saying that you need to summons me. Okay, like, you want me to make a phone call to you, or like you want me to come get you? Like, it wasn't making sense, but at the same time I was like trying to feel out the situation. And then I seen, we have a burn barrel and it had fire in it, and what this entity, because I'm starting to feel like something's not quite right with this situation, wanted us to do was circle around the burn barrel and summons my oldest son. But the vision became where it was me and my other 3 children around the barrel. Now, anybody that knows me knows, like, I don't deal with my kids I don't pull my kids into this kind of stuff. So I'm like, Okay. And so it started becoming like a ritual in the vision. And then I was like, it got to the point where the entity that is now, I'm pretty sure, pretending to be my son wants me and the other three of my children to prick their fingers and wants our blood. And apparently we're supposed to like flick it into the fire or something. At that point, I was like, oh hell no. Now, I know that there is things like blood magic, and some people do that, and that's fine. But that's not my thing. I don't use blood to do any kind of workings for reasons. It is one of the more powerful spell systems, I guess you'll call it. We'll call it. The blood is very powerful. And so I'm like, So after the entity asked or requested that we prick our fingers and give it blood to fully come to us, I shut it down right then and there in the vision. Like, I was like, no. So I told my other three kids to get behind me, and I'm like going at it with whatever this entity is. Like, we are arguing big time. I don't remember everything that was said because it was the way it just escalated. But next thing I know, because I'm like trying to get rid of whatever that is, pretending to be my son, and keep my children, like, make sure it doesn't, like, you know, grab one of my kids or something in this vision. And Rue, my German Shepherd familiar, pops in this vision, and she gets in between me and the kids, barking hysterically, growling, all kinds of just protective demeanor coming from her. And she's like circling around the children, barking towards the entity, like keeping them safe, you know, but basically patrolling them. So that gave me an the open option to engage in a spiritual warfare, I guess you'd say, battle with whatever entity this was. Well, it ended up trying to scratch me on my wrists and stuff. It did change form from the illusion of my oldest son to a more black, darker entity type. After I acknowledged that this is definitely not what it seems to be. So, I'm going at it with this thing in the vision, in the spiritual meditation state, and finally, I got rid of it. I don't remember exactly how. A lot of praying, a lot of psychic abilities, different things. Basically, we were going tit for tat. When it left, and I ran over to make sure my kids were all safe. Told Rue she's a good girl, because she is. I got out of the meditating state and back into awoke, physically. And when I looked down, I got this burning sensation on my left wrist, which is in the vision, one of the sides, where it caught me with its claws. And I actually had scratches like across here, 2 of them, where I was just sitting there on the couch, like hands down, just meditating in my physical state. The only activity that ever happened in that time period was in meditation state. So I always tell people to be very careful when you're astral projection or you're out of body experiencing things, because sometimes when we get hurt or injured in an out of body experience, our physical body can take a hit. And this is why I say that from experience. Not because I just want to be a negative Nelly on it. It is proven over and over again within my lifetime, life, that this can happen. So, what was that? I did check on my children when I came back into physical acknowledgement, and they all seem fine. They have no recollection of this event. They were all sleeping at the time anyway, so I'm thankful for that. But what was this entity? It was able to manipulate how it came to me. It knew my biggest concerns, my weakness, which is obviously my children, my family. It manipulated very well. Where did it mess up on? It messed up on what it wanted us to do. It messed up on its energy signature. It can't change that. And it messed up when it requested blood from me and my family. I'm sure wherever it wanted it for, it was something that needed to ask, but that gave it away that this is obviously not just another person astral projecting to say hi or concerns of learning abilities. This is something more. This is something different. I've talked to some of my spirit sisters, and I've been told that sounded like a demonic attack. I have never officially felt or seen a demon in its full form. They tend to run from me. I don't know why. I have ideas, but nothing has been concluded. This one, I guess, wanted to test the boundaries, seeing if it can penetrate, manipulate or get a job done that others have not. I do know that is probably the most scariest encounter that I've ever encountered in my life. And if y'all have been watching my videos, I've been through a lot of strange and creepy things. And this one felt different. This one used my children. This one was not your typical lost spirit or god or goddess status ghost or entity coming with a message, or an ancestor trying to contact their living relative. This one was much different. Its signature was much different. Its demeanor, its reasoning. So, was it a demon? Could be. Was it just a really bad spirit that was playing pranks? Could be that too. But now I do keep protective wardens around my house. Like I said in other videos, I smudge regularly. I use different herbs for different entities, repellent. Bless the house, holy water. I keep a barrier around my property line with nature and stuff. So I do have now protective walls in place, so that way hopefully nothing else can get through on that scale of no. And so far we haven't had any more incidents like that. So I still not quite understanding or really know what it was looking for when it kept saying, "What are you?" But it's not the first entity to ask me that. So that does have me baffled a little bit. Like, there are many seers in this world. I'm not the only one, obviously. Mediums, psychics, all that. I mean, there are plenty of them. I'm not sure why sometimes I go on investigations or I have an encounter with a entity or spirit that they generally seem confused and want to know what I am. I don't know what to tell you. I'm me. I mean, in my meditating state, I don't really look like I do here, but a lot of people who meditate know that your spirit self can look quite different than your actual physical body self. So is that part of the issue? Perhaps, maybe. Do I have some kind of weird energy signature they never encountered before? That could be possible. I really don't know. I have tried to figure it out, but it's kind of hard to investigate yourself like that. It's like, so yeah, this is, I guess we'll call it the demon attack.